Hi and welcome to this Pilates class. So it's not going to be anything extreme, we're just going for 15 minutes roughly. We'll be working on anxiety control, stress release, with the breathing. We're going to be working on pelvic floor health, safer pregnancy, safer PGP, mobilising whole body. If anything doesn't feel great, just cease to do it. You can comment below if you've got any questions or anything like that. Put some background music on to try and relax you. Feel free to do it with the little one. You can see Demi is making use of the drum there. So let's get started. Okay, so leave the mat. I'm going to start in a tabletop position. I'm just going to go into cat camel. So pulling your spine to the ceiling, squeezing the ribcage in and exhale, and then reversing that with a good tilt of the pelvis. So relaxing the abs now, and then moving through the cat camel, moving the shoulders up and down, away from the ears, close to the ears, as you move through the cat and camel. So the more tilt from your pelvis, and the more blood flow and nutrition to that area, it'll help keep you supple and mobile. Same goes for the shoulders. Moving with the pelvis first, and have it travel all the way up, feeling the tension and stretch throughout each motion. I feel super tight today. And then we're just going to gently move side to side with our hips. You can increase the stretches either side by looking at the hip, the opposite hip that you're stretching. Notice any tightness either side. Is one side more than the other? Maybe sleep on one side with the baby. Back into cat camel with the baby. So I feel super tight today. Hopefully as you do these, inhale and exhale, you begin to loosen off a little bit, you don't feel as tight and restricted. It's normal for your wrists to ache a little bit after pregnancy if you've had carpal tunnel. So if you need to, just come up, shake off your wrists a little bit in circles and then come back down as long as you can until you build up that strength again in those tendons. And move side to side, just like you're wagging a tail, but slower. Toes should be tucked in underneath the heel. Trying to stretch a little bit further this time round. Again, one more cat camel. Looking for about 10. Most important thing with a cat camel, in my opinion, is the tilt of the pelvis. Good rocking motion forwards and back. We'll do a couple more. Inhale and exhale throughout. Starting to feel a bit loose now. Again, side moves of the hips. Pulling your hip away from your rib cage. Okay, just shake off the wrist a little bit if they're aching. Grab a drink if you'd like one. So we're going to move into the disco cat. So it's similar to the cat camel, but this time your hips are going in a big circle, clockwise or anti-clockwise, whichever way feels more natural to you. Feeling your spine coming to the ceiling and then to the left and then down again. Again, take note of any tightening. So it's on my right side, that's tighter than the left side. That's because I lie on the left side in a stretched position. So I've got more flexibility on this side. So notice exercises through this. My right side's tighter. Ribcage in, belly going into spine. Then we're going to change direction. So if you're going clockwise, go anti-clockwise, vice versa. Moving up and down with the shoulders as you move through the cat, camel, disco, cat, side to side. Good. Big circles. Okay, excellent. Next, I'm going to come into, actually we're going to go into child's pose. So knees out, I'm just going to come down as close to the mat as you can. Or if you feel like a slight discomfort in the groin area, that's what we're working. Just going to hold this position. So you're not sitting on your feet or anything, you're more on the mat. And just sit with that mild discomfort for as long as you can. If it's too discomfort, bring your knees in a little bit lower, okay? Move over to the left, pulling this rib away from the hip. And over to the other side. Same principle, hip away from rib. Good, and then we're going to move into the pigeon pose. So ideally, if you've got the flexibility, this knee should be in a right angle, but if you can't do that, like me, it's more important for the hip flexors we're trying to stretch off as well, and the bum cheeks. So come down as close to the floor as you can. So you're just opening up the lower back here as well, so the glutes are quite bad for switching on. So try and switch them off, relax and sink into the mat. Deep breaths. Ba, 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 ba. Good. I'm going to swap over now. Again, work to switch off those muscles that tense up. Try and sink into your mat and switch them all off. Excellent. Grab a drink if you'd like one. You want to stay hydrated if you want to work on mobility and flexibility. Your muscles surrounded in water. So, next we're going to be on our back in semi-supine. I'm going to put you over here, madam. With your full nappy. So semi-supine, just take your time coming over. Okay. So we're going to start with the breath work and build on that. So from here, the arms are just by your side. I want you to take note on how your spine feels on the mat. You should have a slight, like a small curve in your back. That's your neutral spine. So your hip bones should be pressing into the mat, your shoulder bones. And just take note on how that feels. Are you in any pain right now? Does anything feel tight in this position? Left or right? And this is your neutral spine, so everybody's is different. So you're going to inhale and raise the arms over your head. Can you touch the floor over your head? And exhale. Just working on mobility of the shoulder. Opening up the chest, which is great for mum posture or parent posture. So inhale, arms rise. Fill in the lungs, pause at the top, and then exhale. Again, inhale, full lungs, pause, and exhale. Again, keep going. Okay, I'm going to bring the pelvic floor in next. Next breath, as you're filling your lungs, you're going to relax the abs and the pelvic floor like you're on the toilet, okay? Inhale. Push out like you're on the toilet, like you're passing wind and urine. Pause at the top. And then exhale, you're going to pull everything in like you don't want to pass wind. You're holding in a wee and a poo, and then you move that up and your abs are engaged as well. So you can have a poke around. So it's complicated and hard to get at first. Takes practice because these connections can be lost over time. So inhale, relaxing the stomach muscles and the pelvic floor, so your bum and your feet. And then like you're on the toilet, and then exhale, pulling everything in, like you're holding in, you don't want to pass wind or urine, and then you're poking around. There might be a little bit tension if you've just given birth. If you're lucky, there'll be a bit of a tension there. And as you build that strength, that tension will become more and more as you rebuild the connection and have the abs working together as a unit. I hope that makes sense. So inhale, relax. Making room for the oxygen, pause at the top. Pulling everything in. Again, another 10 practicing that. Inhale. Relax. Exhale, holding everything in. So this is natural, but if you're finding it difficult, it's a sign that the connections may have broken down a little. So just training those back. Another 8. Flooding the brain with oxygen, nutrition, blood, and endorphins. 5. Do one more full up. Excellent. Okay. Next, we're going to bring in the knees for a hug and roll side to side. Like a little chiropractic massage. And start to move your knees in a big circle around, like moving your pelvis as you do this. Watching the baby's head. Change direction. Big circles. And come down again. We're going to do another 10 breaths, working with the pelvic floor. Inhale, relax everything in the abs. Pause at the top. And exhale, pulling everything in, like you're zipping from the anus, zipping through your urethra, all the way up. Everything's coming in together and pushing in, keeping that intra-abdominal pressure in rather than pushing outwards. Inhale. Another 8. Just a minute of this breath work can do you wonders. And lifting your mood. You can do this seated as well for the pelvic floor to work harder. That's the progression from this. Couple more. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel pretty marvellous. Last one. Next, we're going to work pelvic clocks, okay? So I want to start strengthening this area below the belly button and above this pubis bone. Here is a weak spot, especially if you're pregnant or you've carried extra weight for a while. So it's all about reconnecting and having that work together as a unit with the pelvic floor and protecting the back. So we want to, so right now you can tense that part. So have a poke around. You should feel mild tension. So switch them off, relax, have a poke around, how squishy it feels, and then switch them on. and it should feel more tension there. Like you're bracing when someone's punching you in the stomach here, you don't want to feel it as much. Now the important thing is, as we move in the next exercise, you are keeping this tension throughout, keeping this part of your abs switched on throughout the whole movement, and eventually this will bleed out into everyday life and protect your back through everyday life. So you want to over-exaggerate that curve in your back by tilting your pelvis forwards. So you can get your arm under there. Whilst you're doing this, you're still switched on here. Ribcage in, belly button into spine. Now you're going to flatten the pelvis, the spine curve, by bringing your pelvis backwards against the mat. Again, keeping everything switched on, ribcage in, belly button into spine. Again. So open up the curve and then flatten, whilst you're keeping those abdominals switched on. So these are called pelvic tilts. They're an excellent exercise to warm up for the day, you know, work out any tightness that you've caught, like you've been given throughout the day. Rehab for PGP, she's a noisy bugger, and antenatal, postnatal. You can do this all the way through pregnancy as long as you feel okay on your back. I'm going to do 20. So you should start to feel like a burning sensation, a little bit like stomach ache. Keep going, it means it's working. Okay, and switch them off and relax there. Inhale for 5. Pause at the top and exhale. Another 4. Again, bring in that pelvic floor if you remembered. The easier to connect to, the stronger these connections get. You'll just do it automatically eventually. Again, we're going to do another 20 of those pelvic tilts. So flatten the curve in the spine, switch them on, have a poke around. Over exaggerate the curve in the spine, keep them switched on as you tilt that pelvis forwards and backwards. You can keep your fingers on all parts of your stomach, just making sure everything's working together as a unit. When there's a breakdown, that's when you get back pain, pelvic floor issues, and other structural problems. We're going to go for 20, as many as you can handle with that burning sensation. I love those little noises. Another 5. Excellent. Inhale, rise. Relax the pelvic floor knobs. Exhale, pulling everything in. Excellent. Next, we're going to add another layer onto that. So we were just rocking backwards and forwards with the pelvis. Now we're going to tilt to the left as well. So as you tilt to the left, your hip is going to touch the left-hand side of the mat, and your right hip is going to lift off, but the rest of your bum cheek on the left side is going to be planted on the mat. So we're going to do pelvic clocks. So we're moving the pelvis in a clockwise direction, whilst you've got tension in the abs throughout. So big circles, a bit like a disco cat, but we're in semi-supine. So big circles. So as you can see, my spine's flat, but I've still got my pelvis on the floor. I've just peeled my coccyx, my tailbone off the mat a little bit. So flat back, over to the right, down, over exaggerating that curve, to the left, so moving through, touching the mat one side at a time. So the left side's touching the mat only, the hip. Now it's not upper back, my back that's flat, touching the mat. Then the right side, bottom, of exaggerating. Left. Big circle. I hope you can hear me. So keeping that tension in the abs, big circle. you're doing it. That's the most important. And let's change direction. Notice how you change direction. Do you struggle this side? These are the neuromuscular connections that we're working on. Getting your body to do what you want it to do. She's not in pain, I promise. Inhale. My goodness. She loves watching my arms rise. Another 3. Bring in that pelvic floor. Good. More pelvic clocks. Big movement with the pelvis. Having a poke around, making sure you remain intense. Change direction. Good. And let's bring in those knees for a hug and roll side to side. So I did want to work on spinal articulation, but I don't think the baby's going to sit still for much longer. Let's bring in knees coming up and over. Change direction. So the pelvis, it needs to stay mobile and strong because it's a support, it's the foundation of the whole building. So once there's a breakdown there, you get knee problems, ankle problems, shoulder problems, neck problems. Bring them knees out. Okay, we're going to sit up next. Are you okay? My goodness, what a load of noise. So, next we're going to, this isn't going very well. Next we're going to stretch out the hamstrings because they pull on the pelvis and can tilt it backwards, causing back pain. So we're just going to do a hamstring stretch. I don't even know what that noise is. And come round the back and just relax. So, still face forward, away from your round. Round to the other side. Good. I'm going to come out a little bit wider. Come in, feel mild discomfort here. We'll come round again. A little bit further round now if you can. We'll see if I can put subtitles on, but then they'll just pick up my baby going, ah! And then out a little bit further. Good. Hopefully this helped. Would like to work on spinal mobility and articulation, creating space between the vertebrae, but we can do that at another time. But that's some breath work, some pelvic floor exercises to get started if you've just had a baby or if you're quite tight in the pelvis area. There's loads of exercises that we can do. But until next time, have a great day. And if this helped you, or I think it could help somebody that you know, please share along.